Kevin just hit Big Max. He never fights the blacks. Chris Dunn made him bleed. Kerry did smoke some weed. His bro went out the door in 1984 with the Von Erich clan. He'll never beat the man. He was gonna be the champion. He was gonna be a star. He was gonna beat a Pace in a sportatorium bar. Chris Adams was his bro, is now his biggest foe. Looks at his Texas belt and never left the Sun Belt. Prince Von Erich and Kerry. Way before Chris and Mike, there were Michael and Gordy. And the hair loss by Buddy is two kids in wrestling. They've been kings of conquering, but he's still preoccupied with 1985. Jim's done every small job. He's paid every due. Referee, ring announcer. Even drove Leroy too. He marked out for Reed. Works with Bill Watts Seed. Used to be a fan of the Oklahoma Stampede. Where's the Junkyard Dog and the Killer Bee? And who's the champion on Mid-South TV? Paul Ellering had worked out with Todd. Where on earth is Gio Polita? Oh, Bill Watts with Duggan DiBiase. Way before 83, there was Bob Roop and Volkov and Dick Murdoch with his pants off. Wants two kids in high school. Say music TV is cool, but he's still preoccupied with 1985. Trae hates this. Make it stop. When did Arya become queen of pop? And when did Cindy have surgery? Please make this stop, stop, stop. And bring back Corner, Hercules, and Shawn Michaels, please. There's Gino, Akbar's coup, and a knee from Wrestling 2. The two hosts from this show, no one is listening to, but they're still preoccupied. And bring back Ian and Condrey and Jimmy Cornette's knee. There's Robert and Ricky and Killer Khan versus Gordy, the two hosts from this show. No one is listening to, but they're still preoccupied with 1985. That was Wrestling for Gazpacho, and this is episode number 257 of Something Else. Feast your ear holes on this week's episode as we take a look at Mid-South Wrestling and World Class Championship Wrestling from January 5th, 1985. My name is Arya, and joining me, as always, is the Bill Haynes to my Mr. Football helmet. It's Trae. Trae, did you love the surprise, or do you hope no one ever listens to this show again?
Oh, I think we gotta induct Arya's 1985 into the Something Else Hall of Something Else.
Awesome. I literally started writing this, and I was just going to do the first verse. But I'm like, let me write the second verse. And so I wrote the second verse, and I was like, okay, I'll just edit it off there. I'm like, well, why not just finish the song off? And so there we go.
It was worth it. Thank you for enriching our lives with the majesty of your song.
I personally popped myself with "And Dick Murdoch with his pants off." That was the one that I popped myself on.
Oh, that's really outstanding.
So, while I would never choose to induct myself, would we like to officially induct me singing 1985? And
I insist on it.
Arya's 1985 song, inducted January 5th, January 5th, 1986. Wow, January 5th, 2026. Huh. I I was thinking, like, as I was doing the song, I was like, Trae's either gonna hate this or he's gonna love it. There's no in between.
This was like these podcast notes were the first thing I wrote the date on this year, so it's always a moment in time.
Yes. For me though, it's like because I say the fucking date like a million times a day at work, so it's like I couldn't get it wrong because I say it all fucking day long. And of course, then I called it 1986. So, I mean, I didn't call it 2025. Let's just say that.
You know what? Honest mistake.
Yeah. All right. So we'll just say this before we dive in. I think it's safe to say these shows are both better than they were last week.
Yes, I think that's a very fair statement to make.
Yes. So I got to say, I think, and I don't know, maybe your file was different, and we'll see. I think in '85, I've got the whatchamacallit, not the remix. What the hell is it called? The
Fuck the
redubbed
redo.
versions.
Yeah,
Yeah. Cause like there was just a few parts on this Mid South show where I'm like, that just it's not mixed right. Like we're gonna get to like Iceman Parsons coming out and like Jim Ross is in the ring to do the ring introductions and like you can't even hear him talk. And then like later on, I think it's the Guerreros where it's like Jim Ross is in the ring doing the ring announcer and he is not the person doing the ring announcing. Uh it was what's
yeah.
his name? Um from
Maybe there was
last week.
some mixing issues with the master tape. That's what that sounds like.
It's possible. I was thinking it might just be the whatchamacallit, the torrent, but I guess we'll see next week. But anywho, let's go to the intro of Mid South, January 5th, 1985. Bill is back. He's come back to do his job, and him and Boyd are introing the show.
Welcome to this week's edition of Mid-South Wrestling Television Network. I'm your host, Boyd Pearson. We have a lot of exciting action. The popular Iceman, King Parsons, is back this week on Mid-South. Also, tag team action sees Hacksaw Jim Duggan team up with Private Terry Daniels against Ted DiBiase and Dr. Death, Steve Williams. A television title for the Mid-South Television Medallion. It's going to be Terry Taylor versus the champion, Buddy Landell. Also, Brad Armstrong is here. Kamala, the Ugandan warrior. A lot of exciting action. I'll tell you somebody else that's here. A man who's been laid back, basking in the sunshine in the exotic islands of Hawaii. He's back where he belongs. He's glad to be back, and we're glad to have him. The president of Mid-South Wrestling, our commentator, Bill Watts. Bill?
Well, thank you, Boyd. It's great to be back. The weather was wonderful there. I certainly enjoyed the diving and the surfing, the beach, the whole bit. But there's nothing like home. And this is our 16th year, 1985, to have wrestling and to be involved with it. And I want to say that the fans, that the gates have grown, the talent's better, the cards are bigger, everything's more exciting. It's great. You know, on Christmas night, December the 25th, the Rock and Roll Express in New Orleans regained the Mid-South Tag Team titles. Now, DiBiase and Sheik Hercules and Skandar Akbar are protesting, especially since Akbar was unable to be there. They're claiming foul, but the Rock and Roll Express are the Mid-South Tag Champions. And again, let's give them a tribute because these youngsters, we all love them.
Okay. So back from Hawaii is Bill Watts. And before Watts told us that we had new tag team champions, I was like, well, of course, why would Ted DiBiase be teaming with his tag team championship partner in this tag team match on TV this week? But they're not the champions anymore. The Rock and Roll Express won the belts back on Christmas night, and apparently, I guess we find out later, but Akbar was not there for a reason. He had some stuff to do.
I wish that going to local wrestling on Christmas night was still like a thing.
Yep. Christmas was a Thursday this year, right? Yeah. So Beyond Wrestling, here in Massachusetts, for a few years now, they've been doing a weekly Thursday show called Wrestling Open, and it's been fairly successful to the point that they now do a Monday show in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, called Wrestling Open Rhode Island. But anyway, they've done every Thursday for years. However, they did not do Christmas Day this year.
Oh, that's a
So,
shame.
yeah. But we have some matches this week. Duggan and Daniels versus DiBiase and Dr. Death. Buddy Landell versus Terry Taylor for the TV title. And did this seem to you like, I know Bill Watts kind of pitched it to the Rock and Roll Tours music video, but did this seem like horribly post-production edited, where it's like they just dropped in the music video right here where Watts said that?
I don't know, it was confusing for a lot of reasons. It's like they're doing a tribute to celebrate them winning the tag team title, but that's not at all a part of the video.
No, because it's the video they aired months ago that closed the show. And the
Yeah.
reason why you know it's the one that closed the show is because they left the fucking credits in there.
Yes. Oh, you're right.
The
I
end
was like
credits played
so
4 minutes
confused.
into the show.
I was so confused about that. I'm like, why are the credits in the video? And I remember that now.
Yes. Well, we go back to the desk, and Bill and Boyd have more to say.
Great young team. I think the day is beyond us when anybody's going to dominate any title for a long time. The competition is just too intense and too competitive. But this is definitely the favorite team that has ever invaded the Mid-South area. Another thing in 1985, we are going to bar Steve Dr. Death Williams from bringing Mr. Helmet to ringside anymore. You know, we took away the 2x4, the chain, the tennis racket, and the steel chairs. It's fitting, and we've had so much mail about it that 1985 Dr. Death, you can leave your helmet away from the ring. You're going to have to wrestle man-to-man. And now let's go to the ring announcer, Jim Ross, for our first exciting match here on Mid-South.
Mr. Helmet has been banned from Mid-South.
I'm glad that we're going to have our first exciting match on Mid-South. It would be a bad idea to start with one of our boring ones.
Yes. But Mr. and Mrs. Helmet had 9 months to name their child, and the best they could do was name him Football. Uh, I, and it's hilarious. It's like they had to get out of this football helmet angle somehow, but because like they started it and really like, and so I don't know, like they just didn't want to follow up on it, but it was like Dr. Death comes out 1 week and challenges anybody to try to get his helmet. And that was, I think it was July that he did that. And then nobody ever came to try to get his helmet.
And then him and Doc, correct me if I'm wrong, they never had the fucking football helmet match.
Duggan, yeah, no. They both attacked each other while wearing full pads, and that was it.
Whatever. I'm hoping that the reason they decided to switch the tag titles back to the Rock and Roll was because somebody realized that it would be better to go with DiBiase and Doc as the tag team.
And I mean, I think that's the next main team is Doc and DiBiase.
Yeah.
But we go to the ring for our first match, which is Iceman King Parsons versus Rick Oliver. R-I-C-K Oliver, yes. Wearing his Rip Oliver robe. And it was in fact Rip. Maybe he hitched a ride from Dallas from the Iceman. Anywho, Watts during this match talked about going to a wrestling show in Hawaii, which was a tribute to Peter Maia, who died in 1984. Iceman 1 was what was allegedly a middle rope clothesline, but it looked more like a body block. It looked like when Vader would jump off the top rope with or not the top rope, but the middle rope with a body block. Except obviously Iceman is a lot smaller than Vader.
I gotta tell you, I was just so glad that this was on this show, because if this match had been on World Class, it would have been 12 minutes long.
Exactly. But yep, I guess Iceman isn't going to do the she calls that the rear view in here in Mid-South. Although
the romper stomper.
Yes, the butt. But I guess this is his first match where he actually won, where he actually got offense. So he has time to pull out the she calls that the rear view.
He does.
Yeah. So after commercial, we go back to the desk because Bill Watts is complaining about the Alamo Busters. Let's go to Bill now.
We went to Mexico City to sign Chavo and Hector Guerrero. They are international stars. We promised them a title match with the Rock and Roll Express. And of course, then the Rock and Roll Express lost the titles to DiBiase and Sheik Hercules Hernandez, and we were unable to fulfill that commitment. Now the Rock and Roll Express have regained the titles, and Chavo and Hector Guerrero are pressing us. Let's listen to their interview recorded prior to today's broadcast.
Mid-South, we demand the title shot. Finally, you're going to give us the Rock and Roll Express. Mexico's where we're at because we've come to you. Yes, we've come to you. Now we are demanding what is truthfully ours, the Mid-South Wrestling Tag Team titles. But are you going to put them up? Only one thing is in demand, and that is us, the Mexicans, coming to you. Right, Chavo?
Let me tell you something, Mid-South. You went to Mexico and you signed us. I have contacted our lawyers, and by now you should have about 12 letters on your desk demanding that if we do not get a title shot on television, we are suing, and we are suing big. We're tired of it. Our people are tired of it. Our country is tired of it. And I have gone to see the ambassador right here in Louisiana to see what we can do about it, because it is not just. You signed and you promised us a title shot, and we are demanding it, not only here, but on television.
Well, Mid-South realizes its obligation, and we're certainly ready to fulfill it. In 2 weeks, we'll have that match right here on television for the Mid-South Tag Team titles. Now let's go to Jim Ross in the ring.
Okay. So Chavo Classic tells us that they're going to sue, and sue big if they don't get a title match, and they're going to reach out to the ambassador of Louisiana in order to guarantee this title shot.
Okay, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask. Why couldn't they have just booked the Guerreros in a title match against Ted DiBiase and Hercules Hernandez?
Heels versus heels, baby. You can't do that. Even though I'm pretty sure they've done it before.
Like we both know that's the answer, but
yeah,
why?
If this is a shoot, it's like, I remember they, not a Mid-South, but at least in the WWF, they did explain it at one point about why Hulk Hogan never defended against Tito Santana or against the Junkyard Dog. It's because these are your friends, and so you don't wrestle your friends because these are the people, you don't want to hate one of your best friends. You want them to be on your side, and wrestling each other, no matter who wins or loses, can cause, dissension in the ranks, and you don't want that. So that's why, you didn't have babyface title matches, which it's a stretch, let's be honest, but I think, it kind of works. It wasn't I forget who it was, but in UFC, there would be people training with the same group that would refuse to fight each other, even if it was for a title shot, to the winner or something.
I just remember Dana would get so mad about it.
Yeah. So I mean, it does happen in shoots, but we've never been given any reason on this show as to why Los Guerreros couldn't wrestle a heel team for the tag titles. So I'm gonna bet they wouldn't have given a fuck.
To me, that kind of shit exposes the business more than most of the shit that they think is important.
Shit like that, and also, and I've said this before, squash matches expose the business more than anything, and Kenny Omega has ever done in his life. Because when I was a child, I knew watching WWF every Saturday morning that the guy already in the ring was going to lose. And I knew that when I was 8. And that was many, many moons before Kenny Omega stepped in the ring.
We talked about this on the podcast maybe 6 months ago or so, but I actually came across a Jerry Lawler promo on Memphis where he explained that I thought was about as well as you could possibly explain that. Do you remember this conversation that we had?
I do. It was that these are guys who are new to wrestling, and they need to get their reps in. And, this is their chance, their opportunity. And who knows, maybe one day they'll beat that named wrestler.
Yeah, right. And these are the matches that you have on TV because everybody understands that the wrestling promoter's goal is to sell wrestling tickets. So you can't give away your product on television. So that's why you have these matches where the star wrestlers take on these nobodies on television.
By the way, do you remember in like 2007, 2008 when LAX turned babyface in TNA and they got Hector Guerrero to be their manager because this was when Conan was suing them, and so Conan was future endeavored. Um, he was doing a blatant Eddie Guerrero impersonation in 2008. But you listen here, the Hector Guerrero that cut a promo. Like, first of all, this was Eddie before Eddie. And secondly, this Hector Guerrero could have been cutting promos in TNA like in 2008.
This is so funny. Not only does Eddie look just like Hector, he sounds just like you too.
Yeah.
It's so funny how like when a couple has, like 4 to 6 children, they'll have like 2 patterns.
So you're telling me that Bob Armstrong and his wife should have had a 5th kid to see who they took mostly after?
I don't know if there was any of the wrestling talent left for a 5th kid.
Or maybe the 5th kid would have been Bob, like a Bob Jr. He would have gotten all the talent. Um,
Uh, weren't we trying to determine, was there a sister that we couldn't figure out maybe? Or maybe
because
Les Thatcher just didn't know what he was talking about?
I think it was Les Thatcher know what he's talking about because at some point Les mentioned a 5th child. And I think we just kind of
Well,
said it ourselves that it was a sister.
hey, one
Or
of those
it,
children is on this episode of Mid-South.
or, and I just thought about this now, and we didn't think about this 2 or 3 weeks ago. Was he talking about Tracy Smothers? Because Tracy is Bob's other son.
No, that's dumb.
Okay. Well, the Alamo Busters go from backstage cutting a promo to in the ring as they take on Tim Horner and Shawn Michaels. Once again, Tim Horner latches onto someone more popular than he is. This is where I note that someone who is not Jim Ross introduced the Guerreros, but I think that's the file. Bill Watts, geopolitical Bill Watts returned. And I'm not saying Chavo and Hector are not talented because they are. But I think the main reason why they currently have a job in Mid-South is because Bill Watts hasn't been able to complain about a foreign country since Khrushchev left. So he had to bring in some new foreign menace to complain about.
Bill Watts has some thoughts about Mexican society and government.
Apparently, there was a riot in Mexico a few days ago before the show was taped, and Chavo blamed the CIA. And then Chavo told the president of Mexico to not repay their debts to the United States. I literally wrote, how is Bill Watts not working for Donald Trump these days? Like, literally.
I'm sad that Chavo Classic is no longer with us. I want to hear Chavo Classic and Watts argue about Venezuela.
So Classic did a flying head scissors and Watts didn't care. Horner popped off the exact same move, and Watts treated this like the second coming of Jesus. And then Chavo pinned Shawn with the Senton Atomico. Perfectly fine match.
That Shawn Michaels is getting some reps in with some very good people here earlier in his career. I bet that'll do well for the young man.
I wonder how many times we can make that same joke every week.
Until he leaves the territory.
More or less, yeah. We'll have to find like the Kansas tapes because I think that's where he goes next. That's where him and Marty start teaming.
Remember Marty was on here like for 2 weeks as Marty Oates?
Yes.
Jerry Oates' brother.
Yes. Oh, Lord. It's always amazing the people who come in and out of this territory. Like Marty Lundy was here for a while. And then like one day out of the blue, they had Arn Anderson. And it's like, they're not even going to try to explain this, are they?
Did they? I don't think they did.
I don't think they did, no. Oh, God. So up next, television champion Buddy Landell, presented by General Skandor Akbar, versus Terry Taylor, who is a little bitch, a stooge, and a D-Gens. Okay. Bill Watts informs us that this match was requested more than any other match to the Dream match.
I knew you were going to go off on this one.
Bullshit! And who knows? Maybe it really was. But 2 weeks ago, they just told us that the Rock and Roll Express versus DiBiase and Hercules was the most requested dream match.
And you took up for that one when I questioned it.
Because there's also only so many people in the fucking territory, so there is a chance that pretty much any match could be the most requested match. I bet there were votes for Shawn Michaels versus Art Cruz.
They never said that you could only send in one postcard.
No, they never said that at all.
What were stamps in 1984? 30 cents?
I doubt there were that much.
I think there might have been some fuckery with these ballots. I think some of those ballots might have been coming from the Florida territory, if you get drift.
20 cents in 1984, and there was a price increase in February of 85. Let me see what it went up to in 85. 22 cents in 85. So at the moment, it's still 22 cents.
Still less than a quarter to mail a postcard.
Now, do you remember, what's your memory of the first time you remember how much a stamp cost? Because for me, it was when it was 29 cents.
I think it was 32 or 36 cents.
And by the way, I've got no idea what it is now, so I'm going to find out.
Damn. I think it's 50 cents. What was last I checked?
Nope. It is 78 cents.
God damn.
I mean, ultimately, who the hell still mails, mail? But anyway, Iceman came down to watch, and the heel corner was perturbed because Iceman doesn't have a manager's license, which is a legitimate concern. Akbar got on the apron, and Ronnie West dropped down for a go-over, and Akbar tripped Taylor, but Ronnie West didn't count for like 10 seconds. Then they did the exact same spot, and Iceman tripped Buddy, and Taylor pinned him to win the belt. I guess it also shows you either A, how strong Iceman is, or B, how much of a wussy Buddy is. Because when Taylor got dropped, Buddy did his corkscrew elbow, but when Buddy got tripped, Terry just dove on for the pin.
Arya, I mail things so infrequently that I have one like 3-year-old thing of Christmas stamps that just every now and then I take a stamp off of, whether it be like, it sounds kind of normal now because it was just Christmas, but if I mail shit in like July, it's a Christmas stamp.
Well, honestly, who cares? I personally, I wouldn't. But are they forever stamps at least?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Good. I like that you cared so little about this match that you brought back up our stamp discussion.
It's more interesting than Terry Taylor being a degen, a stooge, and a little bitch.
And I guess we got tired of having TV title matches on TV almost every week. Now we're back to Terry Taylor.
Yeah, we're never going to see him. We're never going to see the TV title again.
Well, I didn't think we saw it this week either, because where the hell was the medal?
You're right. I don't think we saw it either.
They very quickly began regretting having a medal instead of a title belt. Because, they cannot keep a ribbon on that thing. And it's now it's who even gives a shit? It's honestly, the Smoky Mountain TV title has more TV time than the Mid-South belt.
The Smoky Mountain beat the champ. Mr. Ron Wright's jar of heart peels.
Yes, the fax machine and
and a hole in the bottom of the sea.
Yes. Oh God. Now Trey, after Private Terry Daniels' last match on the show, you tweeted out something about Private Terry Daniels' military record. I don't think we discussed that on this show.
I believe we did, because I think I made this determination. I don't know, did I or not? I remember saying I was going to. I looked and I double checked, and yes, Private Terry Daniels, whose name is Private Terry Daniels, and his gimmick is that he's in the Marine Corps as a private. His Marine Corps uniform has a Corporal's chevrons on it.
Oh, that's tremendous. That actually explains also why you like the first time he was on, you accidentally called him Corporal Private Terry Daniels. Um, by the way, we do have some breaking news. Now,
Oh
Raw
dear.
is on right now as we speak, and there's been a lot of talk about a big debut on Raw tonight. And I do have some breaking news because we do have a big debut on Raw tonight. That's right. Debuting tonight on Raw, signing his Raw contract, is the one, the only, Javon Evans. Javon Evans now on Monday Night Raw.
You were building it up, and I was really hoping that you were building up to Danhausen.
Very nice, very evil. Rhea and Io won the women's tag team titles for those keeping track of such a thing.
Oh,
And
good for them.
I'm not saying I've never not found her attractive, but Stephanie Vaquer with a walking boot, very, very attractive young lady.
You have some very particular interest, I think.
A woman with a walking boot.
Yeah.
To be fair, she just has the walking boot on. I think she would probably be pretty attractive if she didn't have a walking boot.
For the record, this is not. I'm not questioning whether or not Stephanie Vaquer is attractive. That's not in
You're
dispute
just
either.
questioning my description of her as Stephanie Vaquer with walking boot.
I'm questioning you just in general.
That's understandable. I did spend a week writing a parody song said 1985, and
Arya has been building up for several days the surprise that she had for me, and I didn't know whether to scratch my ass or wind my watch.
I I just knew like I started typing it out to you, and I'm like, why would I ruin the surprise? And so that's when it just became I got a surprise for you on the show. And
It
actually,
was.
I forgot to record it until about 30 minutes before we started taping this show.
I
I'm like,
wondered
oh
if you were
well,
doing it live.
oh no. I knew enough to not do that live.
Uh, have
I'm
I
not.
ever have I ever sent you? There's a fantastic, and it's probably like 12 years old, and it's just one guy with an acoustic guitar doing an amazing parody of Rockstar by Nickelback, but it's about Ric Flair.
I don't remember that.
I'll have to send you this, and he also has one that's it's We Didn't Start the Fire, but it's We Didn't Walk That Aisle. That's also very good.
We didn't walk the aisle. Something. We didn't walk the aisle. That sounds that sounds interesting. Well, what else is interesting is Ted DiBiase and Dr. Death Steve Williams versus Jim Duggan and Private Terry Daniels of the Cobra Corps. I did not write this, but I'm assuming General Skandor Akbar was at ringside. Was he?
I
He,
don't
he
believe that
didn't.
he was because
If he didn't interfere anyway.
I think that he was not. And say Watts pointed out that Akbar is not DiBiase's manager. DiBiase
Yes.
handles his own business. He's just associated with Akbar, and
Yes.
and Doc isn't associated with Akbar. So why would Akbar be out there with DiBiase and Doc?
I guess he hasn't really been out with DiBiase because there was always DiBiase and Hercules. I just kind of like wrote it together, like how Jim Cornette became Owen Hart's manager. It's like he managed Yokozuna, and then Yokozuna began teaming with Owen Hart, and then Jim Cornette just happened to now be managing Owen Hart too.
Yeah, well, it worked out.
Yeah. So Duggan got the hot tag, and everyone, including referee Ronnie West, bailed from the ring. I feel like something should be done if the referee is that afraid of one of the wrestlers, and that wrestler is that reckless.
Well,
Who
it's
does
Randy
Duggan
and
think he?
well, I was going to say it's Randy Anderson, but it was Ron West.
Yes. Who does Duggan think he is? Bad Luck Fale? We get informed that next week Duggan will get an award. We don't know what this award is. I'm assuming Bill Apter will be there to present it.
I hope that it's footage from the same award ceremony that was on World Class.
Yes. Oh God, that would be tremendous. We're also going to get Doc versus Brad for the North American title, and Duggan ran wild, but then got out of the ring with Doc, or not only got out of the ring with Doc, got out of the ring because Ronnie West was dragging him away, and DiBiase loaded the glove to knock Terry Daniels the fuck out, and Doc got the pin.
Terry Daniels is such a fucking geek. So Duggan came in to make a comeback without a tag because he just couldn't keep watching this dude get his ass kicked. And then I thought that Duggan was going to get DQ'd for that. And then I thought Duggan was going to get DQ'd for shoving the referee. But they still made the effort to pin Terry Daniels. Corporal of the Geeks. That should be the episode title. Corporal of the Geeks.
1 second here. Delete. Corporal of the Geek. And if Paul Jones was on this show, we could have put Corporal of the Bald-Headed Geek. But yeah, Terry Daniels is definitely getting one of those Coco Samoa pushes where he come in, win 2 matches on TV, just enough to have just enough credibility so that when you get jobbed out the rest of your run, it's like, well, he did win 2 matches. So you never know.
That's fair. Completely fair.
Speaking of Bad Luck Fale, I'm assuming you did not watch Wrestle Kingdom at all.
No, I did not watch Wrestle Kingdom at all.
Okay. It was a perfectly fine show. Like, honestly, the last 2 matches and then the Hiroshi Tanahashi retirement ceremony are really the only. Well, the retirement ceremony really is the only must-see thing, but I would watch the IWGP title match and then the Okada Tanahashi match. But that's just me.
Great, thanks.
So North American champion Brad Armstrong versus the Sheep, Hercules Hernandez, with Mr. Mid-South in his corner. We're informed that Terry Daniels had to be helped from the arena during the commercial break, notably not being helped from the ringside to the back. So maybe, just maybe, Private Terry Daniels has been left in the same ditch that Duggan was left in a few months ago.
Maybe he quit the business.
So I was only half paying attention to this match because the editor of my book, Michael Bernstein, had messaged me if I was coming to quote unquote the city for something called an Orange Crush benefit show, and I was having too much fun making fun of those sentences. Because first he called it the city, and I'm like, there's like 5 cities between me and the city you're probably talking about, which is New York City. And that was, of course, what he's talking about. And like, I was like, what the hell is the Orange Crush benefit show? Are you talking about soda? Are you talking about Brian Adams, who died 20 years ago? So it seemed like a weird time to have a benefit show for him. But apparently, in all seriousness, let me pull it up. It's a charitable type thing, as you could probably imagine. But let's see here. 1 second. It's a benefit for some newfangled autism and other related communication disorders nonprofit. So that is
newfangled autism.
That is quoting my editor, Michael Bernstein. If any trouble with how I refer to it, call him. By the way, Melrose Ballroom, New York City, February 1st, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. Apparently, Jonathan Gresham is going to be on the show, as is Paul Walter Hauser. Super nice guy, by the way. The link he gave me does not provide any matches, so I will just have to take his word for it. Oh, Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight are going to take on Joey Janela and Megan Bayne, which sounds interesting. So go check that out. By the way, back to the Brad Armstrong Hercules Hernandez match. Hercules got on the Shinnomaki, Brad tried to do the Bret Hart versus Roddy Piper or Steve Austin finish, but Pee Wee Anderson was standing behind Hercules for reasons unknown. Herc then climbed to the top rope and stood there for about 5 minutes until Iceman ran down and shoved him off. Brad went for the pin, but Akbar got in the ring and missed an elbow drop for the disqualification. Remember how Brian Alvarez would get pissed off anytime people would say that it's only disqualification in wrestling when you actually hit somebody? And he's like, well, what if you bring a gun into the ring? Not Mid-South. Mid-South, you get in the ring, that is a disqualification if you're caught, regardless of what you do.
That's not even the stupidest thing you get disqualified for in Mid-South or World Class, as we'll discuss later.
No, you can get disqualified in Mid-South for beating up your opponent too badly.
I wrote a bunch of shit happens leading to a DQ.
Yep. And it's funny because it's like I wanted to skip half of that and just say that Akbar ran in and got disqualified. Then, like, if I write that, Trey's gonna be like, "Well, you didn't tell what actually happened. What happened was A, B, C, D, E, and F."
It was too many things. It was too many things to have happened in this fucking match.
Well, speaking of people getting disqualified for kicking too much ass, Kamala, whose name I don't want to say is now being spelled correctly because they were spelling his name the way that Memphis always spelled it, with an I. And however, this week they've switched the I to an A, and it's the well-known version of, the spelling of Kamala's name now.
Yes.
And of course, he was with Friday and General Skandor Akbar as they took on David Diamond, whoever the hell that is. And David Diamond, I actually wrote Akbar's on the show almost as much as Jeff Jarrett's on TNA this week. Kamala wrestled this match like someone who came out and was told that his 45 seconds got cut to 30 seconds. Because you've never seen this man work so fast in your life. And Kamala, not only did Kamala win with one splash, he splashed David Diamond on the correct side of his body.
He was hungry, you see. Every fight is a food fight when you're a cannibal.
We're going to get hungry, and we're going to forget our manners. It's too bad that Neidhart only ever got to use that line once.
Indeed.
Jake Roberts versus Rocky King. Jake won with the DDT.
DDT'd him right on top of his Jerry curl.
Yep. And then for the second time this week, we got the end credits. And only this time we didn't get a, Rock and Roll Express music video to enjoy the end credits with.
Can't have it all.
Nope. You can't always get what you want. All right.
Sometimes you got to watch World Class.
I literally wrote World Class Championship Wrestling. Come on, Buck Zumhoff. Come on.
Oh.
It really tells you just...
I wish Buck Zumhoff had been in that fucking opening 6-man battle royal, whatever the fuck.
I wish he was Mr. X. Although, let's be honest. Are you sad that because if Buck Zumhoff had been in that match, we would have skipped it. Are you sad? Would you have been sad knowing that you could have missed the 6-man tag team match?
I don't know.
It's funny because Cage Match listed as a battle royal, but they tell us it's a 6-man tag team match. But we're jumping the gun here. Let's go to the intro with Bill Mercer. We are at Dallas Star Wars in Reunion Arena because whether we forgot to do it or just didn't care enough to do it, it doesn't matter. We did not watch Star Wars as a one big full show because I don't think there's anything on the show that necessarily needed a solo show devoted to it. But let's go to Bill Mercer, who's back, replacing Drunk Mark Lawrence.
Welcome to World Class Championship Wrestling's Holiday Wrestling Star Wars from beautiful Reunion Arena here in downtown Dallas, Texas. I'm Bill Mercer, and it's great to have you with us on this tremendous occasion. the occasion of a World Heavyweight Championship main event. And that features Kerry Von Erich, who defeated Ric Flair back on May 6th for that championship, and now once again has an opportunity to be the World Heavyweight Champion. Also on this tremendous program, we've got the tag team of Mike Von Erich and Billy Jack against Gino Hernandez and Jake the Snake Roberts. And coming up right now, a great six-man elimination event. That'll be next on World Class Championship Wrestling.
A great six-man elimination event. Plus, allegedly, the main event is for the world's heavyweight title. And as anybody will tell you, the main event is the last match. And the last match was not for the world's heavyweight title. Go ahead.
You're just trying to piss me off.
Not on purpose this time, anyway.
Okay.
I always love having that argument with, or not even the arguments, I don't even bother. But people online, it's like, oh yeah, the last match is the main event. No, it's not.
No,
the last match is the last match.
The main event is the match that is expected to draw the money.
Yes. So, I also noted, by the way, that they did like every time after you do the intro of the show and go to that first commercial break, they show the match graphics on the screen to tell you, to basically reiterate what Mercer just said. And they put up the graphic for the six-man tag and took it down so quickly that I'm like, wait, what the hell is that? You didn't have a chance to like burn it into your memory, whatever the hell that match was going to be. But we come back to the ring for a match. And I wrote, it's the Fabulous Freebirds versus Max, General Skandor Akbar, and Mr. X. It's like, wait, it is not the Fabulous Freebirds. It's Terry Gordy, Buddy Roberts, and Chick Donovan. And we were informed that due to this match, between 3 and 5 people will be forced to leave town. Between 3 and 5 people, Trey, will be forced to leave town.
They're getting rid of people right now.
And then I guess I can get what Drunk Mark Lawrence was saying, but he said this elimination match was scheduled for one fall.
No,
now,
don't you don't have to get what he's saying. That's fucking stupid.
I get that, but then I remember and keep in mind, I do not watch a lot of Lucha Libre. In fact, when I say I don't watch a lot of Lucha Libre, I don't watch any Lucha Libre, honestly. But I think it was Jericho in his book talked about how, Lucha Libre six-man tags were 2 out of 3 falls, and you had to eliminate everybody in the other team for one fall.
It's very confusing. But this wasn't that either.
I mean, it wasn't 2 out of 3 falls, but that would explain why you would say it's one fall when you're having 5 people get eliminated in the match. Now, as we pointed out, and we may need to remind new listeners of this show about this, because maybe my song took off, so people are checking out the rest of the show for once. But considering the Freebirds have lost at least 2 loser leaves town matches that we've seen on this show, does anyone believe these steps?
Absolutely not.
Plus, there's like 16 people in the territory. So is it really a good idea to have 5 people all get kicked out of the territory all at once?
Yeah, well.
Oh, God. So Max was thrown between the ropes, and Mercer was confused about whether that means he's eliminated. Akbar beat up Chick Donovan some more. For the first time on this show, we are informed that Nick Roberts, who represents the NWA Southern Division, is here. And that really should have tipped us off that there was something screwy afoot on this show. Chick Donovan, I laughed. This match had a man named Mr. X in it. Mr. X is a man that we've never seen before, and whoever it is doesn't have a cage match profile. So whoever this is, we will never see on this show again. And the first person eliminated was Chick Donovan. Oh God! At this point, I wanted Mr. X to win.
Who do you think it was?
I honestly have no idea because Cage Match didn't have a hyperlink, and when I looked it up, World Class Memories had no idea who it was either. And we'll say why we had a man named Mr. X in this match. But actually, looking back, I kind of remember us talking about this because, like, for some reason, we were looking up the future and we saw a 6-man Loser Leaves Town Battle Royal, and we were like, "How the hell do you have a 6-man Loser Leaves Town Battle Royal?" And well, this is how you have a 6-man Loser Leaves Town Battle Royal.
Now we know.
Yeah. Mr. X was eliminated second, and I was so sad that the debuting Mr. X won't ever be seen in World Class again. Buddy was eliminated third, and Gordy is fighting for his life. I don't know why, since he could just come back in a couple weeks. Gordy thumped Akbar, but Max broke it up. Max accidentally headbutted Akbar out of the ring, and then Gordy threw Max out. So everyone is fired except for Terry Gordy, who will regret this in like 2 weeks when he has to wrestle 4 times a night because they don't have enough wrestlers for a whole card.
It'd be funny if Terry immediately was like, well, I gotta go to Japan now, bye.
Drunk Mark Lawrence announced that Gordy survives the elimination situation. Now, Trae, I'm hoping you say that you didn't do this. Did you look up to see when the next time each of the 5 losers would wrestle in World Class again?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you the questions here, and you tell me, when does the next time you think each wrestler wrestles in World Class again? First, I gave this away, so this is an easy one. Mr. X. When is the last time Mr. X, or the next time Mr. X wrestles in World Class?
Well, we don't know. Mr. X could be anybody. Mr. X could have been in the next match.
That's true, but to the best of our knowledge, Mr. X does not wrestle again in World Class. Okay. Now, this is maybe an asterisk because I don't know about if he comes back to manage. I imagine he does. But when is the next time General Skandor Akbar wrestles a match in World Class?
July 4th, 1987.
December 9th, 1988. Okay.
Oh.
Now we're going to get fun here. When is the next time that Max wrestles a match in World Class Championship Wrestling? Max, one of the last person to be eliminated in this match. So loser leaves town.
May 84.
May of 84, you say?
No, May of 85.
December 31st, 1984. 6 days later. Trae, when does Buddy Roberts, the third person eliminated from this match, when does he wrestle again here in World Class Championship Wrestling?
The next day.
Close. 3 days later, December 28th, 1984. Now, I did look because I really wanted to look up Terry Gordy and find out that he doesn't wrestle for 6 months, but he wrestles on that same show in 3 days. So then, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Where's Michael Hayes?
I don't know. I didn't bother looking up Michael Hayes. But last but certainly not least, Trae, when is the next time Chick Donovan wrestles on World Class TV?
August 85.
Never. This is, in fact, Chick Donovan's last ever match in World Class.
Oh, that's a relief.
Well, the poor guy can only get injured so many times.
By fucking Akbar.
Yes.
Geek.
He was Akbar's bitch. So, by the way, Mr. X filled in for Killer Khan, who was supposed to be in this match, but left the territory, and believe it or not, never does come back. So he took those tips seriously himself. According to Cage Match, this I had to laugh at, because the fish is rotten in Denmark here. According to Cage Match, Killer Khan's next match in the United States is April 14th, 1985, where he teams with Cheek Hercules Hernandez to lose to the Rock and Roll Express in a Mid-South show in Tulsa. The problem with that is that Cage Match also tells us that on the same exact day, April 14th, 1985, he's also in Sendai, Japan, teaming with Riki Choshu and Yoshiaki Yatsu to defeat Ron Bass, Stan Hansen, and Bulldog Bob Brown. And while, yes, ladies and gentlemen, wrestlers did double shots all the time, and in fact, that's part of what killed Jim Crockett Promotions, was wrestlers having to get in a jet in Charlotte after an afternoon show and fly to Chicago for an evening show. Khan was not able to pull off the Tulsa Sendai loop.
He couldn't do the like Hulk Hogan because because the time zone would you actually get more days if you're flying back and forth to Japan.
Yes, he wrestled 400 days a year. Not everyone was able to get the Hulk Hogan jet though. And by the way, in case you're sitting there, someone like, well, maybe he wrestled in Mid-South on like April 12th or something, and Cage just had it wrong. No, he was in Japan this entire time. Like he was wrestling on April 12th and April 13th and April 11th in Japan. So it's, at some point he had a match with Sheik Hercules Hernandez against the Rock and Roll Express in Mid-South in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Don't know when, it doesn't matter. My guess is that it airs on TV on April 14th. But even then, it's from Tulsa, so not the Irish McNeil Boys Club.
Or maybe
but
it's
anyway,
just I don't know. I could check a book, but I don't want to. I don't care.
That works. So Kerry Von Erich has got a promo because he's about to head to the ring to wrestle for the World Championship in the middle card of the show.
In just a moment, the American Heavyweight Champion Kerry Von Erich will go out and seek the World Heavyweight Championship from Ric Flair. Back to May 6th again, Kerry.
Well, that's right, Bill. This is the final shot. The air is just electrified here in Reunion Arena tonight. And with the way the people of Texas support me and back me, how can I miss? How can I lose? How can I not get the gold belt one more time? Once you've had a taste of the gold once, Bill, you never forget the taste, and it's a sweet taste. You never forget it, and you never forget the people that made you what you are today. And just God bless you, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to go fight my heart out until I win this world title for Dallas, Texas, and Fort Worth, Texas, and in every city in the whole United States. Just thank you.
Thank you, Kerry. Good luck to you. I'm sure you feel confident about this one.
Thank you, Bill. I'm more ready now than I was Texas Stadium. If my brother were here, he would want this title just as bad right now as he did May 6th. And, hey, I'm just ready for the fight. I'm in the best shape of my life right now, like I said. If I don't win, it's all my fault. It's nobody else's. And that's why the great sport of wrestling is so great, because it's not something that if you lose or get defeated, you can't blame it on your teammates. You just say, hey, it's all my fault. So I'm getting my best tonight, and I'm going to take the world title.
Very good. We'll see that in just a moment on World Class Championship Wrestling.
Okay, so even if you didn't know the finish of this match, who believed that this was going to be Kerry's last ever shot at the world title?
Well, I don't want to cast any aspersions about Kerry's personal habits around this time, but I believe that it was within a week or so of this. It was when they found Kerry passed out in the horse stables in Fort Worth or whatever that story was.
I did not know that was this time frame. Or I mean, I knew it had to be somewhere around here, but I didn't know it was then.
I was just listening to like some of the Cornette timeline stuff when he was talking about, the midnight coming into the territory at this time. And I think he said, and I don't have it in front of me, but I think maybe December 29th in Fort Worth was when that happened.
Okay. Oh, by the way, I'll tell you in a second why I'm laughing here, but apparently, I think Io Sky did a sling blade on Raw tonight, and Corey Graves brought up Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Oh, excellent.
I have to laugh, and I'm sorry, I'm going to spoil something here for you, but I promise it's worth the giggle. two of the people that came out to celebrate with Hiroshi Tanahashi were Keiji Muto and Tatsumi Fujinami. And Muto took a selfie of the three of them together, and he posted it on social media, and he got not even half of his own face, Tanahashi's whole face, and about half of Fujinami.
Fantastic.
I just retweeted it. Oh God. And by the way, somebody did some woman, I don't even know who the hell that is. A blonde woman did the Walls of Jericho in the ropes to what may or may not be Mia Yim. But I don't even think it's Mia Yim because that Mia Yim was injured. But somebody with
one of
blonde hair
those,
put somebody with a blue streak in a Boston Crab on Raw tonight.
one of those interchangeable women.
I would be really mad like if it's somebody like actually important, but I couldn't really tell. They have an eye on the ass of their tights, whoever it is. Anyway, world champion Ric Flair from Minnesota versus Kerry Von Erich. I know that's where he like grew up, but Ric Flair is not from Minnesota. Like, you know, was it last week? Who was it last week that was from Minnesota? Um, what's his name from Paducah, Kentucky? Tony Falk. They announced from Minnesota last week. What is with world class announcing people from Minnesota?
It's funny because World Class is like the only place I've ever seen that announced players being from Minnesota. Which, to be fair, like he did grow up there, and like lived in that part of the country until he moved to Carolinas in what 70, 71.
Yeah. Which, I mean, technically it's true, but it's like, yeah.
Yeah, but everybody knows Ric Flair is from Charlotte, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, it's not even really like this, but like World Class being the only people that ever called Ric Flair from Minnesota is like how Mike Adamle is the only person that ever called Punk CM.
No, Elijah Burke did it one time too. It was so weird.
Well, at least with Elijah Burke, like he's just cutting a promo or whatever. Like Mike Adamle would call him CM all the time.
Well, we're not gonna overthink about Mike Adamle, are we?
What? Ever notice I somehow managed to bring up Mike Adamle at least once a month on this show?
You bring up Mike Adamle entirely too often. I'm not okay with
Nobody
it.
in the world should bring up Mike Adamle as often as I do. I think
No,
Mike
absolutely
Adamle's still
not.
alive, right? Like I know he had health issues, but he's still alive, right?
To the best of my knowledge.
1 second here. Yep, he's still alive. I like to think like, do you remember that episode of Corner Gas where Brent and Hank were fighting over a Daryl Sittler rookie card, and they showed Daryl Sittler sitting home going something like somebody's talking about me or I feel shunned or whatever. I like to think Mike Adamle is sitting somewhere, and every time I mention him, he's like, someone's talking about me.
Mike, if you're listening, we'd love to have you on the show.
Mike, if you're listening and you still remember we're talking about you in 5 seconds, we'd love to have you on the show. I shouldn't laugh. Head injuries are not funny.
That's terrible.
Yes. So drunk Mark Lawrence informs us that this match the world has been waiting for, pitting the #1 challenger in the world against the world heavyweight champion for the world heavyweight title. One fall, 60-minute time limit with the world heavyweight championship on the line. David Manning is the world title official.
Is this a world title match?
One has ever
missed that.
I think it is. No one has ever tried to make something sound more official or more important than when Michael McGillicuddy does the Genesis of McGillicuddy speech. And starting now, from this moment, starting now, this will be the moment, starting now, of the Genesis of McGillicuddy. And his voice got deeper and deeper with every word. It's like he was Darth Vader by the end of that promo.
Poor Joe Hennig.
By the way, it was during this match that I took the time to look up when the next person, when all those people in the opener, when was the next time they wrestled in World Class. I did not press pause to do that. We are informed, by the way, I imagine Trae popped because the Midnight Express will be here next week. And we'll also get Kevin Von Erich versus Chris Adams, which deflated Trae's pop, I imagine.
You take the good with the bad. This was good. This Ric Flair fella is pretty good.
I think he could be almost as good as Mid-South jobber Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
And imagine if those two wrestled someday.
Oh, I think that Shawn Michaels could end Ric Flair's career, but he'd feel really bad about it.
Yep. He'd feel so bad about it that he retires 2 years after that.
Yeah.
So Flair, quote unquote, accidentally punched David Manning Von Erich in the head when he was kicking out. Manning, we're told, had trouble getting his eyesight back, which explains the shitty refereeing he does for the rest of this match. We're informed that when Kerry won the NWA title, he was the only man to hold 2 major titles, which, considering this territory has 11 wrestlers and 25 belts, he's not the only person to hold 2 belts at the same time. Plus, Chris Candido has hold 4 titles at the same time over on Smoky Mountain.
Oh, the funny thing is, the argument is that like he won the 6-man titles on the same show as he won the world title from Flair, but he wasn't in that match because that was the fucking Fritz was in the match.
Yep. And even then, he didn't even win it because they won the belts, and then they had to hold the belts up due to all the shenanigans.
Bring that. I don't want to talk about that anymore, ever again.
Okay. Whatever happened to that NWA representative? Why didn't we get him on the show instead of Nick Roberts?
I need to have a word with Nick Roberts about this selective paying attention to things here in Texas.
Yes. So Kerry won the world title with a suplex, but Flair had his foot under the bottom rope. And then Flair almost won with a shoulder block, but he had his feet on the rope, so David Manning Von Erich stopped counting. Kerry used the figure 4, so Flair threw David Manning across the ring for what should have been a disqualification, but David Manning refused to call it because he's a biased-ass motherfucker. Flair to the top rope, so Kerry grabbed his dick, which should have been a disqualification, and threw him off and applied the claw. So Flair hip-tossed Kerry over the top rope for the disqualification. If this is a shoot, why would Ric Flair ever agree to a match with David Manning as the referee? Every time David Manning is the referee, Manning just blatantly ignores the rules because, well, it could cost Kerry or Kevin or any Von Erich the world title.
It's just, this is ridiculous. This blatant favoritism that is allowed here, and not just allowed, but is being enabled by the NWA.
Yeah. And it's like, it's not even us just being, looking back with 2020 hindsight and being, jerks about it. David Manning on this show talked about how he was friends with David Von Erich. Didn't they go hunting together, like them, Bill Mercer, and a couple of Von Erichs?
I'm sure they did.
Yeah. So anyway, Nick Roberts, the representative of the Southern Division of the NWA, got on the apron and screamed at David, demanding a meeting with David tonight. And I wrote, well, it's probably about his biased officiating. And I'll say one thing about Nick Roberts, the representative of the Southern Division of the NWA. He was a very loud man. He did not need a microphone.
You think he's related to Nicola Roberts?
I just thought, like, even if that's his shoot name, like, is that, like, they could not give him a different name when you have Nicola Roberts on the show, too?
I guess not.
Like, this is almost as bad as when WWE had, like, 5 people named Chris at the same time. So we go to commercial and we come back, and apparently that meeting happened really quickly because let's go to the ring where Drunk Mark Lawrence is with Nick Roberts, the representative of the Southern Division of the NWA, and David Manning, when they have an announcement to make.
Been joined here in the ring by Mr. Nick Roberts, who is the Southern representative for the National Wrestling Alliance. You've requested to come out. You have something important to say.
Mark, thank you very much. It's quite obvious that here tonight, Ric Flair has abused the NWA ruling. I am one of 3 representatives that's been sent here to Dallas tonight to watch this World's Heavyweight Championship. And we have gone back with the referee and conferred with the president of NWA, Mr. Bob Geigel, by telephone. We are all in unanimous decision that there must be a rematch immediately. As soon as a building can be made available in Texas, there will be a match. I have something very important. It is a unanimous decision that should Ric Flair get disqualified, the title will change hands.
Ladies and gentlemen, real quick, on behalf of the people here in Texas, you've all seen what's happened in the past. The NWA, the president, has assured us just now, we're not talking months, he said within a matter of a week to 14 days, they will have this match back in the ring here in Texas. And if Ric Flair is disqualified, Kerry Von Erich will be the World Heavyweight Champion.
All right, Nick Roberts and David Manning clarifying the situation after the disqualification right here in this very ring.
Okay. So I feel like they're telling us 2 very different things. Because Nick Roberts, representative of the Southern Division of the NWA, informs us that there will be a rematch as soon as they can find a building somewhere in Texas. Now, Trae, you're from Texas. It's a big-ass state. How long do you think it would be to find an empty building somewhere in Texas that they could put a ring in it?
I mean, don't they basically own or have a lease on the Sportatorium?
I would assume so. That seems like an empty building. But like Nick Roberts, representative of the Southern Division of the NWA, is telling us that we're going to hold it as soon as we can find an empty building. There's no time frame on how soon it's going to take them to find an empty building. While you have David Manning Von Erich being a jerk over here saying it's going to be in the next week to 14 days.
Oh, I think you're overthinking it. I think that David Manning just knows the circumstances and knows that it, because he did. Nick Roberts probably asked David Manning how long you think it'll take us to get a building, and David Manning said, "Oh, a week to 14 days," and that's how these things get accomplished.
Now, well, yes, I might be overthinking that. If I'm Ric Flair, David Manning is not the referee for this match, because the stipulation is that the title can change hands on a disqualification. And David Manning has proved time and again how fucking biased he is towards the Von Erichs. And he is the person that would be the person to make the decision over whether or not Ric Flair gets disqualified.
What do you want to bet that he's the fucking referee for that match?
Oh, almost assuredly. And, then they're going to... And it's funny because this isn't even the first time they've done the stipulation. Because remember, they were doing it for the June 83 Greatest Star Wars Ever event. And then that's when Flair lost the title to Harley Race. And poor Harley had to keep doing Flair's shitty stipulation.
Well, that's the NWA rules. That if you're the champion, you got to take the champion schedule.
I get the take the champion schedule, but why would you also have to take the champion stipulations?
Because those agreements had already been made. between the promoters and the NWA.
I feel like you can at least throw something in there where the champion is like, okay, well, do a thing on TV. It's like, hey, I didn't agree to this. I'm now the champion. I want a bigger cut of the money, or I want something, you know, to like get around it. Because otherwise, it just, in my opinion, it looks stupid. That another champion has to fulfill the other person's stipulations.
Well, you know a lot about looking stupid, don't you?
Aha. Gino Hernandez and Jake Roberts versus Mike Von Erich and Bill Haynes. The Sunshine. Bill Haynes, ladies and gentlemen. Apparently Billy Jack's dad is sick, which apparently is actually a true story because I read it in the Observer. I guess that doesn't necessarily make it a true story, but at least that's what Dave reported it too. His dad was sick, and he decided to pay tribute to his dad and rename himself Billy Haynes, but he was announced as Bill Haynes here. And then, what the hell happened to drunk Mark Lawrence? He was just in the ring with Nick Roberts, representative of the Southern Division of the NWA, and David Manning Von Erich. We go to commercial. We come back for the main event match, and drunk Mark Lawrence has disappeared to the point where Mercer's even like, let's go to the ring with Mark Lawrence. Oh, actually, Ralph Pulley. It's like, what the hell happened to Mark Lawrence?
He had to take an urgent poop.
I figured he was off getting drunk with Reeser Bowden or something.
Or with maybe Nicolas Cage or Nicholas Roberts as a drinker.
You mean the Nick Roberts who is the Southern representative of the NWA?
Yeah, Nicola Roberts' brother, presumably.
Since we're never going to see this man ever again on the show, I imagine, I got to run that joke into the ground.
Understandable.
This may be the shortest match in world-class history, since it started with 4 minutes left in the show. Bill Haynes somehow missed a middle rope headbutt. I don't even know how, and again, it's world-class. I'm not rewinding to rewatch it. But, like, I saw Bill Haynes do a middle rope headbutt, and he sold it. Did you see what happened during this middle rope headbutt?
I did not.
Okay. So Bill Haynes exploded on Jake and made the hot tag, and Mike beat Jake with the claw. And apparently this was the first time Mike used the claw, and thankfully Mercer told us that because I had no fucking idea. I just kind of assumed Mike does the claw.
I was astounded by that tidbit.
Yeah. It's like, okay then. But yeah. So that does it for what do you think about this last match?
It was not the best match on the show. It also wasn't the worst match on this particular show.
Obviously, the best match was that 6-man battle royal.
Absolutely.
Okay. So that's world class for this week. I mean, it was not a bad show at all. I mean, I know we kind of goofed on Flair versus Kerry, but Flair versus Kerry was quite good. But I do say so myself.
It was a great match. It was just it was territory wrestling. It was a crappy finish to build a return.
Yeah. I was like, even though like we're going back in time to do all this, like at the end of the day, we really are spoiled by, modern day wrestling because we're sitting here like, we're thinking about it with modern day. You don't really care about keeping somebody strong sometimes. It's more we want a winner and we want a loser.
Yeah.
And, we did not have that.
1985, you do not blow shit off unless somebody's leaving the territory.
Yes, unless it really was a blow off. And Jesus Christ, Braun Breaker. Thankfully he's okay. Braun Breaker went for a run up the ropes Frankensteiner, and he slipped and landed on his head.
Oh Jesus!
Yes. By the looks of it, though, he appears to be okay. So fingers crossed, tap on wood, all that shit. I don't see. I don't know. Maybe he's coming in afterwards, but I haven't seen anybody post anything or talk about Jericho. So either he's coming in after this Punk Braun Breaker match, which I guess is possible, or that's not happening. Becky Lynch, by the way, won the Women's Intercontinental title. Not exactly sure how that happened, since the whole story was that Becky was protesting Raw over losing it in the first place.
Well, now she got nothing to protest.
I guess. Yeah, it's like. By the way, I so like. I know it's been a few years since my New Japan fandom was at its peak. I so got to make it to the Tokyo Dome one of these years.
Yeah.
You know, just saying. I was gonna go in 2021, and it's like I booked a hotel room for January 4th around that time, 2021. I was looking at flights, and they were very affordable, and I'm like, okay, 2021 is gonna be the year I do this. And then we got this teeny tiny little global pandemic.
Yeah, it kind of fucked shit up, didn't it?
Yes, it did. By the way, I messaged you about this. Um, I hope you can make it to Chicago for night one of the G1. Because, I am definitely planning on going. I've already booked a hotel room. I need to double check how many beds are in it, but you are more than welcome to split a hotel room with me that day.
I hate flying. It's really hard to convince me to fly.
Now, in the interest of fairness, I haven't looked at a map, but how long would the drive be?
At least 15 to 20 hours, probably.
Okay, because mine is 15 hours. So it's 1,000 miles from my house to Chicago.
Wait, fucking maps.com. What the fuck is that? What, maps.google.com.
From Houston, Tejas.
What venue is it in Chicago?
It's the Now Arena in Hoffman Estates.
Oh, fuck. The only goddamn way I'm going back to that building is if I have my own car.
If you have your own what?
My own vehicle.
Okay.
I have traumatic memories of being at All In and waiting for fucking hours to get a ride.
I will say this. The hotel room I booked is a mile away from the Now Arena. So my plan, if everything goes as planned, my plan is to walk there. Plus, I got to have a positive trip to Chicago. Like that, it was more or less when I was in Chicago, everything was great, but like the drive there and the drive back sucked. So, I got to have a positive Chicago experience.
I had a nice trip to Chicago when I went for All In. It was my birthday. It was fun.
I'm very happy for you that you had a positive trip to Chicago. That was the trip where an hour into the trip, I found out that one of my best friends died. And then on the way back, because I was distracted thinking about her, I got my first and so far only speeding. So.
Yeah, that's pretty crappy.
Yes. By the way, Houston, Chicago, 1,093 miles. For some reason, it defaulted to walking, and so I was going to tell you it takes 17 days to walk from Houston to Chicago. Keep in mind that 17 days would be if you didn't stop. It was not keeping in count having to stop for sleep, eating, or something.
It's like 16 something. It'd be 2 days for me. It's a 2-day drive for me.
In theory, like I could stop. My brother is literally the halfway point between my house and Chicago. So in theory, I could stop at his house for the night or whatever. And actually, I'd probably actually do that. But
I actually could, in theory, drive to like Little Rock or somewhere near, because I have people near there. And that would be like not quite halfway. I don't know.
You could go see CBJ in, I think he lives in Kansas.
No.
Phoebe, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I keep forgetting where you live. CBJ is somewhere in that Missouri, Kansas area.
Somewhere in that area. Okay.
Yes. Ah, Lord. And it's who knows? I'm sure there'll be other ancillary events around it. But it's like hopefully it's not. Hopefully there's a lot more to do wrestling related than just one night of the G1. You wonder if they're learning their lesson, because remember when they did the G1 in Dallas, when they were still hot in the US, part of the reason why they didn't draw was that it's New Japan booking, so they didn't really announce what you were going to see until like a week or two before the show.
Yeah, I still think that would have been different with without like Omega and them leaving.
Possibly. But yeah. Um I'm gonna spoil one thing for you that I was sad about when watching the Hiroshi Tanahashi retirement ceremony. The way it was going, I was convinced that Nakamura was coming out, and Nakamura did not come out.
Oh, you should have known better.
I really should have, but I think it's also it's 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm watching live Japanese wrestling. It's like you want to think more or whatever, or you want to overthink it. And
Sorry you overthought things.
I did. Oh my God. So I'm gonna spoil this for you because I know you always listen to Cindy and I's TNA show every Wednesday. So I'm gonna spoil this for you. But they debut an off-screen lawyer character named Tom T. Sr. And I decided to try to figure out who the hell this Tom T. Sr. person was. And when I Googled it, it told me it was Filthy Tom Lawler. It was not Filthy
Was it
Tom
really?
Lawler. No, it wasn't. Like Filthy Tom Lawler was like 18 or 19 years old in 2004. And he was not, and he actually turns out he originally lived in my neck of the woods up here in Southeast Massachusetts. He was not being brought in to be a lawyer on TNA.
No.
Probably not.
Hey, I had an idea. Like, I don't know how nobody has done this. You know what would be a great TNA character? And you just have to find the right guy to do it.
Who?
Son of Abyss.
Son of Abyss?
Son of Abyss.
Okay, I know what you're doing there, but technically he had a son on TNA television. Chandler Park.
Is Chandler available?
It's Ethan Page.
Oh, well.
I guess technically he's in NXT. So I mean, you
can just recast him. It's not important.
Considering I imagine I am the only human being on the planet that remembers that Joseph Park, for like one TV taping, had a son named Chandler Park, and it was what's his name? Ethan Page. Then like the next TV taping, Ethan Page was just Ethan Page teaming with Josh Alexander as the North.
Yeah, you were absolutely the only person who would know that.
I bet that what's his name? That Ethan Page himself probably doesn't remember that he was Chandler Park.
Probably not.
But I did meet Ethan Page a few years ago. I met him and Danhausen at the same signing. Super nice guy. And this was obviously when he was still in AEW. And it's like everyone was there to meet Danhausen. It's like I met Danhausen too, but I stood off to the side and talked to Ethan about TNA and teaming with Josh Alexander for like probably a good 5 minutes. Really good guy. And we also agreed that his last match where he wrestled himself was really shitty. And he blamed that on TNA production. And I believe that.
I absolutely believe that part. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on that one. Yeah, I like Ethan Page.
Do you remember the match against himself?
Yeah, it was very stupid.
Yes, it was. It was on the undercard of the pay-per-view, well, the first pay-per-view with Kenny Omega on it. Because they were setting up for a barbed wire match with Sami Callihan and Eddie Edwards. And they needed the time to set it up. That's
why I was watching that show.
That would explain it, because I'm like, how the hell would you have watched that? Because I didn't, you refuse to admit that TNA still exists.
I was watching TNA some during that period.
I'll be honest, it's funny because this was the first time I wanted to ask Dave, where did TNA touch him on a doll, or point to the doll to where TNA touched you? Because when AEW did that and had Kenny Omega run out and Don Callis said they're going to explain this on Impact, Dave got very pissy about it. Why would they team up with TNA and yada, yada, yada. And then he basically did the same thing when they did the NXT TNA relationship. And it's like, Dave, please show me on the doll where TNA touched you. This show certainly has gone far. We went from me singing 1985 to TNA touching Dave Meltzer. I would say that should be the title of the episode, but that is not going to be the title.
I don't think you should do that.
I will not make that the episode. Oh, I like I like not having legal problems too much. Kevin just hit Big Max. He never fights the blacks. Chris Dunn made him bleed. Kerry did smoke some weed. His bro went out the door in 1984 with the Von Erich clan. He'll never beat the man. He was going to be the champion. He was going to be a star. He was going to beat up Hayes in a sportatorium bar. Chris Adams was his bro, is now his biggest foe. Looks at his Texas belt and never left the Sun Belt. It might be the greatest parody I've ever written.
I'm disappointed that you couldn't work in a reference to the Von Erich thing.
I know. I wish I would have been able to do that. Maybe if I would have done the whole thing about the Von Erichs and not just like a verse on him and then a verse on Mid-South.
Well, you did your best and I appreciate it.
Yep. I really like the "and who's the champion on Mid-South TV" line, and that's how Brian Blair got a shout out, because I could not think of any word that rhymed with V or TV other than B, and it's like, well, Brian Blair was on this show for a while.
Well, good for him.
Yes. And I mentioned geopolitical Bill Watts and Bob Roop. It's a great song.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So, hey, we've got 91 minutes somehow, some way. By the way, remind me to forward you the Zoom description of me singing that song. I was also watching a video about Survivor, and so the description of the Zoom call is a mix of Survivor facts and me singing this song.
Okay, that sounds outstanding.
Yes. All right. So before we go, you have anything else you want to talk about?
No, I don't really have too much going on. A lot of fucking Smoky Mountain to watch for tomorrow, because I haven't done that yet.
Yeah. I mean, we could still do it Wednesday if you prefer. But we'll talk about that later.
We'll see.
Right.
We'll see.
Yep. Thank you all then for listening. By the way, CM Punk beat Braun Breaker, no Chris Jericho. Thank you for listening. Hope you all enjoyed the show. We'll talk to you again in 7 days.
Bye.